Welcome to the Last Beer Show, episode 25. It's a new year. Jason and I talk 2019 trends and predictions. We talk about our goals for the year in beer. We cover a little bit of news, and we drink on a few good bottles. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it.
Begin to rock, steady, steady rocking all night long.
All right, I'm going to hit this thing. It's going to be go time. You ready?
Hold
right.
on, let me make sure I'm not sneezing.
It's too late. You can sneeze? I'll edit it out. Edit it out.
Okay.
Diction. All right.
All right.
So,
Beep, 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 beep.
welcome back, Jason. What's up?
Hey,
Welcome to 2019.
It's 2019.
Is that it? That's a thing.
Yeah.
So new production schedule every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
We can do it. We can do it every 2 weeks.
It's not going to be easy. We may want to record a couple, and then have a couple advanced weeks, just so you have time to catch a cold or something.
Yeah. Well, or you.
Or travel.
Or you can catch a cough.
So you could travel. I
Yeah.
know it takes me 3 months to get rid of a cough. I'm still struggling with it. It's a disaster, and getting old, let me tell you, the struggle is real.
Trust me, I know.
The struggle is real, baby.
The struggle is real.
So anyway, we're going to cover a lot. It's the new year now, right?
Yep. Happy New Year.
So we're going to cover sort of, I guess, atypical kind of content you would in a new year. Lots of, bold predictions. We got news items. We got some plans for 2019 we want to share. We've got a couple of good beverages here. What are we starting out with?
We are drinking one of the premier IPAs in the country, which is Toppling Goliath's Pompeii.
Premier IPA in the country, huh?
Yeah,
it's a
this
bold
is one of the
statement.
best IPAs in the country.
And it's a bold statement.
And it says it features mango and pineapple hop flavors, and I would completely agree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
I would agree as well.
I get a lot of pineapple and mango out of this.
It's delicious.
It's a delicious IPA.
I don't know if I could say it's one of the best in the country, but it is delicious. No doubt.
It is one of the best in the country.
No doubt.
No diggity.
So
we're drinking...
what else have you had lately? Let's see.
You know what I had lately that really blew my mind?
Give me the highlights.
I am going to give you the highlights, brother. So Santa was extra good to me this year and got me 2 bottles of Bottle Logic's Paisley Cave Complex, which, if you don't know, is Paisley Cave Complex is a collaboration that Bottle Logic out of the San Diego area did with Great Notion out of Portland, Oregon. And it's Polly up there at Great Notion is one of my favorite breweries in the country right now, and I think that they are doing some really good things. But one of the beers that they do that I think that they do better than really anyone else, period, is their blueberry muffin beer, which is just like fresh blueberry muffins.
That one I've had, and it is incredible,
amazing. So
yeah.
I've had a lot of blueberry beers over the course of my time, and what I find is that the blueberry comes off tasting artificial because, as you know, with in the brewing process, when you add blueberries to beer, the part that people really enjoy out of blueberries is the sweetness, and yeast happen to like sweetness, and so
they eat it all up.
They eat it all up, and so it either takes a buttload of blueberries, which costs a lot of money, or they end up doing it artificially using some sort of concentrate or what is it? Extract. And so I don't know how that Paul and his team up there at Great Notion have done it, but they've actually unlocked.
They've captured the essence of the blueberry,
which is unbelievable,
and the muffin,
and
they made a beer out of it.
That's exactly right. So
good.
So the Paisley Cave Complex is literally like a collaboration between one of my all-time favorite beers, which is Fundamental Observation, which is their stout with vanilla,
right,
and Great Notion's blueberry muffin. So it literally tastes like if you added blueberry to fundamental observation, and it's still early, but it might be the best beer I have all year, and I've already had it. And thankfully, I have one more bottle, which I'm going to share with some fellow Beer Karma guys in a couple of weeks. But it literally blew my mind. I could not stop. I mean, I wanted to sip on it all night long.
Getting that vibe.
And the crowd that was here to share it with me was the exact same way. They held on to it. They didn't really want to finish it either. And so that Paisley Cape Complex was really good.
Cool.
And then also a brewery out of Atlanta who put out a beer that I actually believe is on point in many ways with Bottle Logic's fundamental observation and that whole series of stout with vanilla, which is Orpheus Brewing out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
They did a double vanilla, Abandon All Hope, and it's just a straight sweet vanilla bomb. So those are the two highlights that I've had. But I mean, I've had so much really good beer. Another highlight was a beer from Toppling Goliath, who we're actually drinking right now, Pompeii. But a buddy picked up a crowler of beer called Dragon Fandango, which is a dragon fruit. I think it's a sour ale with dragon fruit that Toppling Goliath did.
I was going to say, dragon fruit doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's kind of like a subtle watermelon.
Yeah, super, super juicy. Yeah. I mean, and in a way that was more pure and sweet than those fruit puree bombs like Answer and Veil, which I do enjoy. But this was cleaner, sweeter, juicier, not too tart, not too sour, just like the perfect balance. That's cool. Toppling Goliath's Dragon Fandango. And so those, I would say those would be the highlights right now.
Those would be highlights.
Yep.
Yeah. I got into another one of those Hubbard Caves, the French toast.
Oh, I've been wanting to try that one.
It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. It was rich. You don't hurry through it, but you don't want to finish it either.
Yeah. Because those are the big format bottles too, right?
Yeah, 750. So you need at 12% some people to help you through that one, which is good because I couldn't take more than 6 or 7 ounces of it. It's just really rich. You wouldn't want to do, but it is delicious. You know what I had and really surprised me was, and really one of the best beers I've had in a while is Dogfish Head does a version of 75 Minute.
I'm glad you said that.
With maple in it, and it is dang diggity daggum good. Because the maple's really subtle. The first drag, you're like, oh, I'm not really picking up on it. I guess it's kind of there. And then like by the bottom of the glass, you're like, I need more maple in me, and I need it now. It's delicious.
So interesting that you should say that because I just realized I actually wanted to add that I had a 120 minute last night.
120, yeah.
And
120 is crazy though.
You know,
how long is it rested?
So that's the interesting thing is that usually 120 minutes.
So hot.
When they're fresh, they're so hot. But the one that we had last night is one I picked up a month ago. So I'm assuming that it's this year's, and it was drinking absolutely perfect. Yeah. It tasted like warm butterscotch.
Wow. Did you trade for it?
Nope. I actually bought it in South Carolina.
Oh, I was going to say, because you can't get it in Georgia. It's contraband.
Yep. I bought it in South Carolina over Christmas break. And normally, you really do need to let those things sit a while and kind of mellow out. But this one tasted completely fine, just straight, right then.
Cool.
So, I'm good job, Dogfish Head. I'm not sure
how
you did that, but good job.
Listen, they've been at this a minute. They know what they're doing, right?
Yep. So, definitely this. But that 75 minute sounds super interesting as well.
It was so good. Kind of subtle. It's when you... It's not going to stand out in a bottle share, in a small volume share like that.
Yep.
Like, you would just take 1 or 2 ounce pour. You would barely pick up on it. But in the pint, as it warmed up, I was blown away at how nuanced and solid it was. So it was good. a couple other local things. I don't need to, jump up and down about. I got into a couple things from Maine. I did get into some of our, from last episode, some of our shelf turds. I've gotten into several of those and had me a good old time. It was delicious. So, Litterman's. I got an Orville. I got into, now I'm forgetting it. Figures. I don't have my notes in front of me. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Moving on.
Orville, man. Their beers are great. Their popcorn is even better.
Oh, geez. That's different. Spelled differently.
Oh.
I got into a couple of just local base beers that were just really phenomenal, things I hadn't had before. And one of which kind of blew me away. I'm definitely going to be buying a lot more of it just for around the house. Crushable.
Ooh.
You all right over there? You sneezing?
I'm all right.
Don't die
out.
So, so let's turn the corner. Let's talk about 2019. We're here now.
Yep.
We're here. We got beer. Get used to it.
Oh.
All right. So let's talk. We want to do a thing where we listen back. We predict trends, and then next year we get to poke fun at ourselves and see how wrong.
Because there ain't no listen back.
Unless you're right. You could be absolutely right. You're clairvoyant.
Man,
so
I hope I'm right.
you can have that. You have that going for you, which is nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So, tell me a little bit about your 2019 predictions, man. Lay it on the line.
So I definitely see.
Do it.
I definitely see a lot of people kind of circling back the wagons around. We went through the super hazy Northeast IPA phase, and we went through the juicy, slurry, slushy bomb, fruit slushy puree bomb phase, and the milkshake IPA phase. Right. And I see, based on the snark and the critical thinking of the interwebs, like I mentioned, Don't Drink Beers, and then also the Beer Memes Facebook group.
Sure.
I kind of keep an eye on the pulse of what people are making fun of, and it seems like people are still moving back into that. Let's go back to a more simple time of beer phase, where there are pale ales and pilsners and lagers and just simple saisons and things like that.
Yeah, it used to be, it wasn't. Now it's not enough to simply just be a hipster douche. Now you have to pick on the beers.
Yep.
What did they ever do to you?
Yeah. So I think that people are definitely kind of
okay. So they're going back to basics.
They're
everything old is new again, right?
Yep.
Basic stout, pale ale.
Yep.
Pilsner, Heffy.
Yep.
Okay.
And I kind of wonder, honestly, where that's going to leave breweries. A lot of these breweries that have kind of popped up around solely focused on these kind of beers, I think that they will have to improvise, obviously. Breweries like, and I'm not calling them out, but
call them out.
Breweries like The Answer. The Answer makes a lot of really good beers. Although they certainly are known for some of those, more Andal Crowler juice bombs.
Yeah.
A bulk of their repertoire is going to have to be, more traditional stuff. I definitely think.
All right. Well, we'll see. That's your prediction. You called your shot. You made your bed. It's
one of the things I like about breweries like, like Atlanta Brewing in Atlanta, who, they take a stand. They're just like, we know what's trendy. We know what the kids are drinking these days, but we're just going to drink beer that we think we like.
They're not the only ones doing that.
They're not the only ones that do that. No, but I did take note of it. I said, hey,
you worked there.
Yeah, but so obviously I took note of it.
Right.
And while at the same time wanting to drink some of the beers that I like that are trendy, right?
Right.
But I think it's cool seeing breweries like that take a stand and saying, hey, you know what? Like we know that this stuff will come and go, and we're gonna set our sails and do what we know we do best.
Right.
And I think that you'll see breweries that do that continue to keep, as they've stayed the course, to keep doing what they do. So
okay. Well, I'm going to counter you.
Okay.
Counterpoint.
Okay.
I think that we will see, much like we did a few years ago with IPAs becoming fruited, then becoming hazy and fruited, just like we did with stouts becoming sweet stouts and pastry stouts, and then sweet and pastry stouts. I think we're seeing it now with sours, where the kettle sour type of thing is really expanding into juicy, and some areas now lactose and everything. We're going to see that happen, that expansion and creativity within the farmhouse/wild area, which is going to get cloudy, no pun intended, with the whole sour game. I think that, sure, technically it's a fine line. Wild, sour's not really a thing. It's a flavor, right? And those oftentimes qualify as wild fermented beers. But I think the farmhouse thing is going to explode. You're seeing more and more farmhouse styles and session beers and table beers coming out from a lot of breweries. And I think 2019 is a year we see that happen in those spaces the way it did with IPA and stout over the last decade.
So
that's my call.
That brings me to another. You actually made me think about something else. You know what beer I hope comes back into fashion this year? Simple stouts. Just like a really well done, nice, simple
like
stout.
A base.
With no adjuncts whatsoever. Just like roasted malts.
Chocolate malt, dark malt.
Super clean. Honestly, I hope that comes back into fashion.
Just high level bond.
Yep. So
I hope so. I mean, when the stout's really clean and really strong, it's it's a solid.
It is
beverage
incredibly solid. I had a basic stout. I don't know, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and I had forgotten how good just a basic stout was. Without cocoa nibs and vanilla. And
there's a grocery store up the street from me that has the Founder's Breakfast Stout.
Oh yeah,
4-packs.
Gosh,
in supply for I think it's $8.99. Just a solid deal. I grab one every time I'm in there. So I've got some of those in the back of the fridge. The Bell's Porter, another one. Just a solid. It's more of a stout than a porter to me, but it is phenomenal. It's super affordable. It's super available. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. Call me names you want, but you give me a Guinness anytime. And I will sit down and
I love Guinness.
I will suckle on it.
I couldn't agree with you more.
So, I mean, all right. So that's our 2019 shots. You got any more? You good?
I think I'm good. All
right. I got some more 2019 questions for you while you open that up.
I gotta get it.
Go get the Whale Slayer.
We're gonna open the new Glarus 2018 Cran-bic.
I don't have an opener.
I got one coming.
You have one coming?
Yeah, I got one coming.
This is terribly interesting radio. We should have music play while we wait for an opener to come.
So
why can't you just get up and go to an opener?
Yeah, I guess I could.
It's like 6 feet away. So what I wanted to ask you about 2019 is what do you want to drink more of? Which I think you've already kind of covered, is getting more into some of the base styles and getting more intimate with that. A couple episodes in a row, you've talked about a simple stout.
Simple stouts.
You've talked about wanting to get refamiliar with basic pale ales and some things in a previous episode. So I think you've actually answered that. But, as a recovering whale hunter, what it is that you want to find in 2019, like seek out? Like, do you have a goal beer or two for 2019 you'd like to dig up?
Well,
from the trade groups.
Well, there's a couple of beers that I kind of would really like to re-explore, and that's Bottle Logic's Fundamental Summation, which is their fundamental observation with coffee. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's one of my all-time favorites. And then also, I would really like to get. I'd really like to get more of that Great Notion blueberry muffin and double stack, which is, it's a great desserty kind of beer.
Right.
And it's not a crispy boy you're just going to throw down at the end of a work day when you want to kick your feet up.
Right.
It's a beer that you kind of have at night when you just want to chill out and have some dessert. And so
Sure.
I say that I'm looking forward to going back to some simple styles, but man, those Great Notion beers are so good.
Well, once a whale hunter, always a whale hunter, right?
Yes, indeed.
You're a chaser.
Yes.
That's good. Good for you. My next question. Homebrew. What do you want to homebrew in 2019? What are you looking forward to there?
I've actually been thinking a lot about this because every day when I drive, I pull my car into the garage. Directly in front of my car is all of my homebrew gear.
Right.
So my carboys and my...
So you have constant reminder.
I see it every day. And every day I'm like, man, I really need to pull that stuff out and brew a batch. So I am...
Not Pico, real brewing.
Yeah, not a Pico brew. Although I will brew some on the Pico this year, and they've got some really good Pico packs coming from some breweries that I really like Mad Tree out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and Monday Night Brewing out of Atlanta, and they've already got some. They've got Holy City out of Charleston. So Pico is actually they're adding some really good breweries that I'd like to brew some beers for. The fact that I can brew a Holy City IPA in my in my kitchen, or Mad Tree's Axis Mundi, which is a really, really good beer in my kitchen, is great. But honestly, I just like to get back to brewing a real a 5-gallon.
Just get
batch,
creative, man. Make your own thing.
Brew your own bag. Brew in a bag. So I am going to I'm going to brew a stout, and I may or may not add anything to it at all.
Okay. Just make yourself a basic stout.
Yeah, I'll figure that out when I get there.
I'm going to make a massive pastry stout that's full of all kinds of adjuncts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, the very first beer that I ever brewed on a big batch that wasn't a 1-gallon batch was a stout that I brewed with that I added blueberry to. And it was so successful that it pushed me into more home brewing. So the very first one I did, I added blueberry to.
Get it?
So we were talking about blueberry.
Yeah. I haven't really done much adjunct brewing.
Okay.
Flavoring of things, using different ingredients. Don't dip my toes in it, but I really want to make one that is confusing and busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to try something with a higher degree difficulty. So
okay.
At that, and Three Taverns hasn't remade Morning Smack.
Oh.
So I'm going to make my own damn Morning Smack.
Add bananas and coffee and maple syrup.
Well, luckily, banana is a natural off flavor. You don't have to add any.
Yeah, that's true.
But what are we drinking on? This is so good.
This is New Glarus' Cran-bic, which is this year's 2018 Cran-bic from New Glarus. And New Glarus.
Man, this is good. This makes you feel better about your day.
They're just so freaking good at what they do. And that you can only buy this in Wisconsin.
So true.
But you can buy it at literally gas stations in Wisconsin. But I
got a quick trip.
I never have a problem getting it, even though it's only sold in Wisconsin. I can get it pretty much anytime I want.
A phone call away for a connected guy like you.
Yeah, exactly. And these beers are so underrated. So consistent.
Are they?
Yeah, they're incredibly underrated. This isn't the beer that you're
underrated or taken for granted.
This isn't a whale. It's just a delicious beer.
Underrated or taken for granted.
So we were talking about shelf turds last year, but really good shelf turds. This is a really good shelf
Last year,
turd.
that was like a week and a half ago.
Exactly. So
exactly.
I'm definitely a fan of New Glarus and what they do.
Yeah. So 2019.
Yep.
Travel. Beer travel. It's always one of our things.
Beer,
I always ask you where you've
travel.
been. And I know it's been a couple of months since either of us have done anything, but let's just share our plans for the year. Do it.
I am looking forward to and planning a trip to Boston in April.
Oh, yeah.
And I am looking forward to getting back there and jumping into some of that world up there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hitting Trillium again and spending a little bit more time there.
Yeah, lots of good beer in that.
So I'm kind of happy that I got the treehouse visit out of the way, so I don't have to drive all the way out there and back.
It's not next door.
it's definitely not next door, and I'll be honest, and I get why they do it, and again, I get why they do it, but to drive, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it was out there, and then and get your cans, and then wait for hours for them to pour, to have them not pour at all. And then leave without actually drinking anything there. It was kind of like, I mean, literally, I drove there 2.5 hours. I was there for half of a day. And the very first time that I actually got to drink a Treehouse beer was when I opened up a Julius in my hotel room when I got back. And it was like, that's kind of
it's lame.
womp, womp, womp.
So what else you got? Boston's a good one.
Boston is a good one. I'll obviously be heading back to Nashville, so I'm looking forward to hitting there. And they've got some new breweries that are opening up.
Yeah, Nashville's a great stop.
Mm-hmm. And then ideally, I'd like to hit San Francisco again, and Berkeley, and
bold move
in that area.
That's a trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get back to Seattle. Really want to revisit some of those spots that I was at before and get into some really great beer up there.
Yeah.
And I will be making a trip to the Boston area, mostly to visit family. So that'll be extended. Mm-hmm. So I'll have a chance to hit a few spots up there. Hopefully I'll get up to Maine, do some travel. I got family up there as well. I'm hoping to go to Portland.
Oregon?
Maine.
Maine, okay.
They make good beer there too.
They do make good beer there. I'd like to get back to Portland, Maine this year myself.
Honestly, I'd like to go to Allagash. And, not going to lie, that sounds like a great time to me.
Yeah.
And I may have a trip to Ireland. I know the craft beer outside of Guinness and Harp and some of the other things are not, it's not trending quite as strong there. The market's not on the level, but there is some of it there, right?
Yep.
And there's lots of other great things to partake of, food and beverage wise there. So I'm sure I'll find a way to have a good time. And Asheville. I can pretty much guarantee I'll be in Asheville sometime this year. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. I like it a lot.
Yep.
So, so that's 2019, man. We're going to have a good year.
Yeah, we're going to have a good year. I'm looking forward to it. There's
Take it on.
A lot of stuff that can go down this year.
Grab it. What did I say? Grab it by the horns?
Grab it by the horns.
I don't know what you do with it once you hold it by the horns, but it's your year, man.
Yeah,
you do it your way.
I'm excited about it.
So, news.
Yeah, news.
Ready?
Beep, 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 beep. In the news.
There it is. So, in the news, the government shutdown. That is real right now. It's in its third week.
It is very
22
real.
days. This is the 22nd day? 22nd day. So by the time this airs, it will probably be either over or 4 weeks in.
Yep.
So go for it. Tell us about the government shutdown. Thoughts?
Obviously, I've seen this as it is, as it's been affecting,
people.
Yeah, as
places,
it's been affecting people
breweries
that are also in the beer world, but I didn't really think about how it was affecting breweries.
How does it affect breweries, Jason?
Well, breweries can't get labels approved, and every new beer usually comes with a new label,
new labels,
and a new name, and that usually has to be approved by a government entity.
Right. So if they weren't out front in planning, they are letting that beer sit in the tank, or they're going to keg it, change its format.
They don't know yet. They don't know what to do.
They can keg it. You don't need a label.
They could keg it, but some of these are smaller batches, and they've got some serious challenges ahead of them.
Yeah,
so,
it puts a small business in a tough bind when they're sitting on a bunch of product they can't move.
And you saw Prairie's CEO tweeted out about the fact that, and I don't think he was being critical of Trump per se.
They tweeted at President Trump.
At President Trump, just saying, "Hey, I just want you to know this is how it's affecting people like us."
Yeah,
and it's just a fact. It's not a Democrat or a Republican thing.
Yeah,
it's
but anytime you do that, you're going to catch hell from someone,
of course.
Right?
But it's just a reality. It's like, hey, this is a real thing that's affecting us and our employees and our customers.
I believe that is a truism.
And I don't know that he thought about that. And so I think that's kind of the direction that they were going. But you definitely see that, I've read breweries that we're having to think about, what do we, if we can't keg this beer, we're going to dump it? What do we do it?
Depends what kind of beer it is. They can sit on it. Maybe they'll just call it, fermenter aged.
Yep. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting, and I've definitely seen breweries respond and breweries kind of.
It's not just labels, though.
It's not just labels, but it's
permitting
also
of new facilities or facility updates.
Yep, that's right. So there's a meadery here in our area that was in the process of having their paperwork approved so that they could open.
Yeah.
And now they're in
the process of waiting.
So and here's what really stinks about this situation. And again, this is not a Republican or Democrat thing. This is just this stinks situation kind of thing. What will happen is that because there has been no action by this government organization because they're not getting paid, there's going to be a giant backlog, and so even when they do start back up to work again, the wait is going to be exponential because all of this stuff has just been sitting and backlogging, and so the effects of this are definitely going to be seen for breweries.
But they're not the only
a long time to come.
They're not the only government agency that will have that issue be their reality.
Nope.
But as far as beer goes, it's probably the number one. Them and maybe the IRS that just have tons of effect on a brewery's ability to conduct business, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I've been thinking about my income tax refund, and you talk about a womp womp womp. They our income tax refunds this year.
Well, for you and I, it's not problematic for us yet, but we'll see.
No, it will be. It is now. I mean, usually I file it by the end of the month. And a refund will not come until, long after they come back.
I mean, business doesn't even have to issue, if you're a full-time employee, they don't even have to issue 1099 or W-2s yet for a couple more weeks.
Right. But I mean, by the end of the month, that's what I mean. I usually file mine by the end of January.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then, and then I get my check, pretty promptly after that because I just try to get it taken care of. But that will not happen this year for sure because, again, those folks aren't even working.
So hopefully this resolution comes soon and breweries will be able to continue conducting business, or they're just going to have a sale on something in the tap room and then maybe we'll benefit from it that way.
True.
I don't know what else they're going to do. They can pour it without a label on draft in the tap room, but that's about all they've got, right?
About all they can do.
Keg it. Change. Yep. Yeah.
Crowler it.
So there's that. News. Any other news? Is that all the news?
That's all the news.
All right. So good work.
Yeah.
You did good work today.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.
A lot of good news. The news is good news at this point, besides breweries not being able to put out labels and put out new beers. And you know who this really affects?
Who?
It really affects breweries like Other Half. Other Half and
Other Half.
Other Half, and
I
then
didn't see that coming.
Who does the milkshake IPAs out of Pennsylvania? That is
Untitled Art.
No, I can't think.
They're not out of Pennsylvania, are they? They're in Florida, aren't they?
No, but breweries that put out cans weekly. And they kind of built a lot of their business around weekly can releases, like Other Half and Monkish, and a lot of these folks who really, they put a lot of emphasis on. And this is something that you actually saw a little bit of blowback from Jeppe from Evil Twin, who was like, hey, remember that time when we didn't have to release a beer every week? And you're seeing some blowback from breweries that are like, hey, our Imperial Biscotti break, for that matter, the donut break is good, right. But our Imperial Biscotti break is still a good beer. Yeah. It doesn't have to be released every week.
I had the pecan pie.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was so good.
Okay.
So good.
I can't say I've had that one.
The even more pecan pie Jesus or whatever it's called.
Yeah?
Really good. Evil Twin makes a lot of beers, man.
Yeah, they do make a lot of good beers, but I can understand his
a lot
frustration.
of labels,
It's
though.
like, hey, I mean, again, these folks don't really want to put out a new beer every single week, but unfortunately, that's the model that we're in with.
Well, maybe your predictions for 2019 will come true.
And I sure hope
and
so.
that will, that trend will change.
Hope so.
Not me. I hope I get more farmhouse still.
Yeah.
More wild fermented stuff.
Yep.
I like that. Makes me happy.
That's good.
All right, bro. We're going to shut it down.
Good.
See, maybe we can keep these shorter now.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Frequency. Unless we got a guest. You got a guest and you want to keep having... when we have a guest, I hate that the conversation has to end.
Yep.
You're like, oh, man, I can't believe we've only been at it for an hour and a half. And I have so much more I want to talk about. Right? Makes practical sense.
It does make good sense. Agreed.
So, all right, well, until next time.
Well, we shall see you in a few weeks then.
Drink well, drink local.
Yes, exactly.
All right, peace.
Drink fresh.
Fresh and local? Is that
Yes.
what we're gonna we need a closing phrase.
Get fresh and local.
But in key.
Yeah, in key.
Got it. Busted your chops. All right, bros. If I'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The Last Beer Show. You can email us sip@lastbeershow.com. If there's anything you want us to touch on and discuss, we would be happy to. Go to the iTunes store, leave us a review or a rating. We would be eternally grateful. And thank you very much.